Have you ever been in that situation where life has beaten you down so much? Or you've just had one of those days and you've had it and you want nothing else, and then someone presents you with a plate of really good food? Have you ever realized how fast your mood can change? How quickly, that day can change? Hi, my name is Victor Olilo, and I'm a chef. I'm into the culinary arts. There's just a beauty about food. First of all, the fact that we cannot live without it. It is a basic necessity. But just because we have to eat does not mean that we cannot enjoy what we eat. What attracts me to cooking as an art is that being able to enjoy the simple things in life, or the perceived simple things in life. I think the cooking process is multifaceted. It is multi-dimensional. First and foremost, it definitely represents me, my personality. As I cook, I more or less immerse myself into what I'm doing. So the production is a direct reflection of who I am. We can be two different people following the exact same recipe, using the exact same quantities, but you will notice that there'll be some slight differences even in the taste. Oftentimes it will also represent what I'm feeling or my state at that particular moment. But also, food is cultural. There's a representation of different cultures, different experiences. Different foods represent different things. So you find there are some foods that are more celebratory, there's some foods that are for a specific time. That's why I say it's very multi-dimensional. I'd say there's no right way or there's no wrong way to cooking. It just matters how well you're able to fuse the different flavors and different elements to create a dish. We've heard people create, some of the most tasty dishes out of the most bizarre ingredients. I've not been very good at maybe like the finer arts or the more refined arts, but me being able to express myself in my food is my form of art, is my way of beautifying the world. So I've been able to find a comfortable balance between my cooking and my daily life, especially now with what I do, where I work. I'm able to have some extra hours to myself where I can express myself, where I can actually engage in my food commercially. For the longest, I would always just create and share with friends. I would always just find an opportunity to host, or even when I'm hosted, I would always want to be in the kitchen and maybe either try out something or share something that I've tried out before. So for me, food will always be an integral part of my life. Regardless of where I am, I will always find a way to try something new, to experiment something, research on a new recipe here and there. So yes, regardless of what I do, food will always be somewhere within the background. So I find myself drawing a lot from the, let me say, Asia mostly. There's just something about Asia and flavor and technique that really draws me that side. One meal I really enjoy is a garlic butter naan and chicken curry. In terms of food, I cook and I bake. Most people do one or the other. And I love baking bread. So naan for me definitely is a staple. Being the Kenyan that I am, chapo is, the holy grail. So naan is what's closest to that. And it gives me at least some freedom to also enhance the flavors a bit. For me, my food is an introduction to who I am. So the feeling I want to evoke is of my personality. I want whoever is eating the food to be able to maybe understand a different element or aspect about me, to understand my diversity, to experience who I am out of my food. It is part of me, a part and parcel of me. I pour out my soul into it. I put my everything into it. So as it is consumed, I believe you are partaking a very intimate part of me. So that in itself is an introduction to who I am and maybe what I am going through or where I'm at in life at that particular time. So yeah, on different occasions, you will experience different tastes because I'm also not very like one track. You'll definitely experience very many different elements about me. So even in my food, you will end up experiencing very many different elements. Cooking in itself is both an art and a science. So I'm not sure whether to call it an artistic science or a scientific art, because you have to understand the different elements. You have to understand, you have to have some knowledge of each and every element that you're using. But also, just like an artist or a painter with a brush, sometimes you have the creative process, and with each stroke you come closer to your vision. That's the same way I perceive food as an art. With every spice, with every process, with every kneading, for me those are strokes of my brush with the paint. Me being able to produce that final product that will appeal to you both visually and also to your palate, because I believe food, the art of eating is also an art. Does not begin from when the food gets into your mouth. It begins from when you see the food, how the food is presented to you. That is why you find we have food stylists as well, because they understand that for you to actually enjoy it, there's a certain way that it's meant to be presented. There's a certain story that the food tells before you even get to consume it. So it's first in the seeing, in the visual, then also in the senses, in the other senses, the smell. You can almost taste food. You can already know if food tastes good just from when you smell it. From that first waft, you're like, someone's making some really good food somewhere. And by the time you're actually tasting it, it's just taking you to a whole other elevated experience. So sometimes I'll just go into the kitchen and just do my own thing. Like I have no recipe, I have nothing really maybe planned out. I just have like a main ingredient and a hope for the best and a will to enjoy something good. And many times it actually comes out really well. Yeah. So I'd say that is also the abstract part of it. As you keep on doing it, as you keep on practicing, you become so much better at it that you're able to now very easily just infuse different flavors and they come out well. There are some flavors that do not complement each other. Yeah. So you learn all these things. You learn all these things on the job. Yes. First of all, food is therapy. Cooking in itself, first of all, just the cooking itself is therapy for me. And now for me, it's more so even in the journey to it. Being able to walk through the process. I'll take it more like an adventurer, It's not really so much. It's not even just maybe getting to the peak of that mountain or getting through those woods, but in the process through it, in the journey through it. So when you look back, you see how far you've come, and you're able to appreciate all those little elements that have really contributed to making you or bringing you to that achievement. So for me, yes, the food at the end is an achievement, but also the process through it. And with that, I'm also able to release and decompress and distress. So food for me is saving grace. Yeah, the times when I just want to be away and just be in my kitchen and pull out a few things and do something and make something that I really enjoy, and I sit down and savor it, and then I have the energy to go back and do what normal people do. So a question I get asked a lot is, where did you learn how to cook? Especially since I cook and I bake, a lot of people think that I've been to maybe like culinary school, or strangely enough, I've not done a single course in my life. Mine was just from a place of interest. Growing up, I'd spend a lot of time with my mom, like in the kitchen and all. And so I would observe, and many times I would observe, and if something interests me, I take very keen note of it, and then I'll go try it out on my own. If you ask my mom, I started cooking from a very young age, because there are times when we'd be on holiday, and it's not every time that your parent will be on leave, and for us, we were taught to be responsible really early. So after a certain age, we didn't see the need to have like a nanny or anything. Responsibility was bestowed upon us quite early. So my mom would be comfortable leaving me from as early as 7 years, 8 years. I could make my own ugali, I could make my own eggs, my own burger. She's like, okay, he'll be sorted. He'll go and play, he'll come back, he'll cook his food, and he's good. So most of what I've learned is basically from observation and just curiosity. So I see something, I like it, I'm impressed, I'll go and try it.